Bob Rubin was truly a broadcasting jack of all trades. His 47-year career included work on air and behind the scenes in radio and television. His roles included disc jockey, sports play-by-play, anchoring, advertising sales, and station management.
The CU psychology department was doing aptitude tests, and they needed people to test it on. So I took that as a freshman, and one of the things that they said I would be good at would be broadcasting. So I completed my first year at CU, then transferred down to the University of Denver in the broadcasting school and got my degree there. That was where my first opportunity to get involved in some play-by-play. Did all of the DU sports on KVDU, including now extinct DU football. They just exposed me to the depth of what broadcasting was all about.
His first job was the night shift at KYOU in Greeley. 2 years later, he met Bob Martin, who brought him back to Denver for good.
The folks at KMYR, the Myers, hired a guy by the name of Bob Martin to be their program director. Bob's first job was to replace the nighttime disc jockey. And I went down and auditioned for it, and Bob hired me on the spot. He gave me an opportunity to do some sports. I used to work with Fred Leo. We had an easy friendship. We liked the same kind of things. We were interested in sports. We liked the same kind of music. Turned out to be a friendship rather than an employer-employee kind of a relationship, almost from the very start.
Martin and Rubin partnered with Tim O'Connor to buy KMOR in 1960 with a focus on the South suburban radio market.
KMOR, well, middle-of-the-road music at a time when everybody was going to rock and roll. We covered high school sports, tried to become a South suburban radio station, which turned out not to be financially a success, but a lot of people probably still remember us.
After KMOR was sold, Rubin sold advertising for KTLN and KOSI before Martin brought him back on air, this time on television.
He moved over to KOA, and eventually I got an opportunity to apply for a sports job for Channel 4 television, and I got that, and Bob and I worked together over there for years. Worked on the radio side as a statistician or a spotter in the radio broadcasts of the Bronco games.
Rubin returned to radio, this time in management at KOA. He helped begin a resurgence that took KOA to the top of the AM ratings.
I had an opportunity to become program director for the radio side. KOA at the time was the 9th rated station in the market, and we weren't happy with it, and General Electric wasn't happy with that. It was all music. It was the same music everybody else was playing. And had conversations with Mick Shafo, the general manager, and myself. We decided we could start to do some news. So we began with news blocks in the morning and in the afternoon and in the evening. It just grew from that. The news obviously worked, and the ratings increased, and pretty soon we were #1, and we were dropping all of the music and going with talk in between the news blocks. Eventually ended up operations manager for the entire facility. There was a need for some additional office space, and I got to supervise the addition to the building that's still there at 1044 Lincoln up on the 3rd floor there.
After leaving KOA, he oversaw construction of a studio for the Lakewood cable television system.
Perhaps my brightest moment there was a compliment I got from Carl Akers. We covered a local election, and the next morning he called and said he gave his staff a lecture and said, he said he had just seen how elections should be covered. So that was a great compliment from Carl.
And managed the Resources Communication Center at the Colorado School of Mines.
It begins to sound like I couldn't keep a job. But I had interests and abilities, and people would ask me, would you be interested? And I said, yeah, sure, sounds interesting, let's do it. I took advantage of the opportunities that were presented to me.
The Broadcast Pioneers of Colorado are proud to induct Bob Rubin to the 2015 Broadcast Pioneers Hall of Fame.